Welcome to No Stats, where we call it how we see it. Beach, the tournament is about to start. We a day away. We getting ready, man. But I want to touch on some things because there was a lot that happened on the build-up, right? And on the way to this March Madness tournament. A lot of surprises. And for one, this North Carolina team, they was just in the national championship game last year, lost by 3 to Kansas. Returned 4 players, 4 starters. They returned Armani Baycott. They returned Leaky Black. They returned Caleb Love. They returned RJ.
So many starters.
Yeah, they returned a lot, bro. They returned a lot, man. Hubert Davis seems like a good coach. I mean, he got those guys to be on one accord last year, right, and ride to a national championship. I believe that's the 8th seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely gonna have to check that.
I think they was. I could double check. But now this year, they don't even make the tournament, bro. I think FanDuel, all of these sports books, they had them as the favorite. If favorite, maybe second, but they were high. They had high odds to get back there and maybe win it all this time. And the ACC that I didn't feel like was very challenging or at its peak. Duke got rolling at the end. I feel like Virginia is a good team, not great. Like Virginia teams of the past. So that's a big question mark, right? And I think a lot of people are trying to figure out why that happened. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let me know your thoughts and why you think that demise happened that quickly.
Well, to be honest with you, bro, when you have a run that North Carolina had last season, that's kind of like your high right there. And I think going into the offseason after they made the national championship game, one word I could use to describe it is complacency. And that might have been their championship right there. They might have not have gotten better in the offseason. There may have been things that they should have been working on that they didn't work on because they felt as though that they had already won when they lost. And in that championship game, I think they were up 15 at the half. For my bettors out there, I did take Kansas money line in that game. But they were up, man. They was real hungry. A lot of us did not have North Carolina making it to the championship game last year. So for them to reel off that special run and not build off that momentum, I think it's the off season. Coach maybe could have been better on them at getting better, working on weaknesses, working on things to get them back there. But sometimes when you run into situations like that, you get comfortable. You think it's going to be handed to you again. You think you're going to get there again. And shit, everybody around them had them thinking that as well. Like you said, the sports books had them ranked number 1. If you looked at the line on them, they were plus nice money to get back there and win it again. And, when you fill these kids' heads up, they're coming back, they already think they've won something. So the one word to really describe it, I think they got complacent with it.
I got a question for you, though, right? Because we can say that about North Carolina because of the results and the position that they're in now. But you look at a team like Kansas who actually won it, right? And they returned 3 starters, I believe, maybe 2. But they returned some of their starters, almost half, if not more than half, of their starting 5. And they're a team that's a number 1 seed and with a good chance to repeat. So do you think that attributes to coaching? Like, what's the difference, right, between Kansas and North Carolina?
I think what you just said, the coaching, the program, the guys that are around the players, are you holding guys accountable to get better, to not settle, to not get comfortable with what happened last year? Last year is over with, and you got to set your sights on the task at hand going forward. And I think North Carolina didn't do a good job of that as a whole. I don't just blame the team. I blame the coaching staff and the guys that are around them for not holding these guys accountable to get to the next level. And I think Kansas, they have been a great program of doing that. We always see Kansas in these spots. They've always been a name. I think they might have like maybe 1 or 2 down years since, we've been college basketball fans. And they do a good job of keeping that standard. You know what I mean? They bring in guys that fit their certain system that they have implemented. And, North Carolina just should have did a better job of that, especially with everything that they built up, not being one of the ones that should have been there, and just having all this pressure on their back and just not living up to expectations. So
I hear you. I think you hit it right on the nail, bro. But another question, kind of on the same topic. Do you think this season, this disappointment of a season, hurts any of their players' draft stocks, right? Because you got to imagine Caleb Love is going to enter the draft. Armani Baycott, I don't think he's going to get drafted, but he's coming out. Leaky Black is coming out. I think he's a grad. You know, he had that extra COVID year. So do you think this puts a dent in their draft stocks as far as, you know, because if you have a true leader on that team, maybe someone had to lead that team, right, last year. You don't fluke your way to the national championship, I don't think. Some shots go in, but you got to have somebody driving that train. But does this hurt them in any way? What's your thoughts there?
I feel like since, you know, college is more on the side of a team thing, more of a whole thing, I think that you could take your jabs there. But I think maybe individually, if you maybe look at some of the things that Caleb Love did, you know, maybe he could fit a certain team in the NBA. So I think it goes into a lot of details. I like Baycott. I don't think he's you know, he may be a solid, like, backup big in the NBA, you know what I mean? Maybe around, like, 14 minutes a game. I think his ceiling is maybe like Jameis Wiseman now, and we've seen what Wiseman has done. But I don't think that the season overall hurts these players' draft stock, just because I feel like, you know, once you get to the NBA, you're going into more of an individual lane to where, like, each one of those players could suit a certain team in a certain way that'll be beneficial for that organization. So that's how I feel about it. Can I ask you something real quick? Was you surprised by North Carolina? Like, did you see this coming? North Carolina not making a tournament at all?
I didn't see it at all, bro. In the beginning of the season, I'm one of those guys who watch the beginning, the tip-off tournaments. I'm watching college basketball from the moment it starts. And I thought that throughout the whole season, I kept thinking they're going to figure it out. North Carolina's going to figure it out, right? Because that last impression that they have on you is that national championship run. And I'm going to double check, but I believe they were 8 seed. If I'm not mistaken. But that run was like they bringing back 4 starters. I mean, anybody, that's just simple math or however you want to put it. It's like you bringing back 4 starters and you just made the national championship and lost by 3. You should be good that next year.
You know the program. Y'all know what it takes to get there,
bro. I'm not saying going back to the national championship, but making the tournament. Bro, like, you don't get in.
Bad, man. That's bad, man. I really want to know and you know, these are things, you know, a lot of things goes on behind closed door. We don't know exactly what goes on in that locker room. So, you know, maybe a couple years down the line, they could shed a little light on, you know, what happened. You know, I mean, even if it's an individual player on a podcast that could let us know, the audience, the fans of the game.
Come on, those stats.
Yeah, come on, those stats, and let us know what the fuck happened.
No, straight up, bro. Straight up, man. But another team that I want to talk about who kind of had the reverse effect is these Penn State Nittany Lions. It's a football school, right? But
you don't got your hoodie on, man.
No, I don't, man. For those who don't know, me and Peach got our degrees from Penn State. So it's a little bit of, you know, fandom there. But this is a team who hasn't made the tournament since 2012, bro. It's been 10 plus years since they've even sniffed it, right? And they were close to making. I think they were basically a shoe in that COVID year. They were really good that year, and just, you know, the season got canceled, which kind of sucks for them. But now they're back in it. This is a team that was ranked 10th in the Big Ten tournament and went all the way to the Big Ten championship, and was close to pulling off an upset against Purdue. I know we have our doubts about Purdue, but still, for a Penn State team to do that is kind of cool to see. They shoot the 3 ball really well. They got Seth Lundy, they got Pickett, they got Funk, the shooter. They have some players on that team, man. Cam Winters, So they're playing well.
Who are they opening up against?
Texas A&M, the 10-7. And that's a tough draw. Because a lot of people feel like Texas A&M made the SEC championship, a tougher conference, then they should be higher. They beat Alabama this season, I think, or played them close. So everybody feel like maybe they should have been like a 5 seed. So it's going to be tough, that Texas A&M game. With that being said, when you shoot the 3 well and as efficient as Penn State does, you can almost win any game if you hit
Absolutely.
shots. So what do you think about this run? Do you think they can be a surprise team, or do you think it's just build on this and see what it goes?
I think it's how bad these guys want it. To be honest with you, I haven't seen much of Penn State this year, so I haven't seen the product that they put out there on the floor. I've heard some noises. I think when you have a hungry team like them who hasn't been in a tournament in such a long time, I think it gives you that different type of grit going into the game, a different type of confidence, and you want to seize opportunities like this because, as you can see, if you don't seize that opportunity, who knows when you're going to be back? And you hear that a lot in the NBA on, why Steph Curry is crying in the finals and stuff. Just how hard, like when you think about, and I'm not trying to get off the fact that we're talking about Penn State, but just to use that example, how hard it was for the Warriors to get back on top of the mountain after, losing Kevin Durant. Then you remember that year after, all the injuries, the bottom of the league, you know what I'm saying? And then that following year to get all the way back to the finals and to win it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think that's huge for a team like Penn State going in here into this tournament with this type of confidence. And, bro, it's March. It's madness for a reason.
You're absolutely right.
10-7 is I feel like the 10-7 is sort of like the 12-5s. It's real. That's a sticky matchup, bro. That's a sticky matchup, man.
Yeah. What kills me with Penn State, though, because I have watched them play a few times this year, more than a few times this year, is their size, bro. They can hit the 3, but when the 3s aren't falling, you know how it is, bro. You live and die by that 3-point shot when you live and die by it, right? And their size. They have a big man that come off the bench. I can't quite remember his name. Number 3, though, I believe. But he's still raw, right? He's still finding his own. I think he's young. He can do okay when he comes in there. But the problem is when they play a Zach Edey. I mean, both times they played him, he had 30-plus points, 10-plus rebounds. Like, just destroying him down there. And, I mean, Zach Edey's going to do that to most bigs. But what I'm saying is that they're going to hopefully they don't run into a big like that's going to impose their will in the paint. And if they do, they got to be hitting their 3s. Because they hit some big 3s at the end of that Big Ten championship game to kind of make it look close and give them another chance because Purdue was running away with it for a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see.
Purdue's already done matched up with them already.
Twice.
I wonder how and Purdue took both matchups?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely something that. So you said that they have a raw big coming off the bench. Who do they start at the 5 spot? Do they have a solid big man? Is it more of like a 4?
It's like an undersized, kind of. I think he got some weight on him, but he's undersized height wise.
Okay.
I forget his name, but it's going to be tough. Like I said, if they have to play against a big team like that, I don't know if they can overcome that. I'm about to give it to you right now, though. Bear with me.
Take your time, brother. Ooh, it's almost bracket time.
I know, bro. They start Jalen Pickett, Seth Lundy. Those are their 2 best players. They got Andrew Funk, knock it down, bro. Shoot the 3. I think he's shooting like 40% from the 3. They actually a local kid from around my way, where I'm at now. They got Cam Winters, Miles Dredd, who knocks it down. I'm trying to think who starts at center. I think they play small, bro. Like I don't think they.
If they have a guy down there, if that guy that's starting at the 5 spot can shoot the 3, I think that maybe can make Zach work a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Because they're drawing him out of the paint.
Sorry, number 3 does start. He started 24 to 35 games this year.
Okay, so that's the raw big, right?
He started, yeah. And I mean, he's been doing okay. And I don't want to cut you off, bro. He's been playing 14 minutes a game. I know we don't do the stats, but I'm just going to throw these out there. 3.5 boards, 3.5 assists. Like it's not jumping off the stats.
Numbers don't jump off.
Bro, at all. But the numbers don't tell the whole story, and that's why we got this thing.
The numbers ain't going to matter in this tournament either.
Exactly, baby. At all.
That's it.
It's about effort. So we'll see how it goes, bro. But it's just exciting as hell to see Penn State back in the tournament.
Quick question, bro, before we tune out. Out of the number one seeds going into this tournament, who do you think falls first? So we got Alabama, we got Houston, we have Purdue, and we have Kansas. And, riding into the tournament, the number one seeds, I feel they'll have the most pressure on them because they are supposed to win. These are teams that are Final Four bound teams, and you're going to get every team's best. That's arguably what makes up the tournament. But which one of those four teams you think falls first?
I'm going to flip the question at first. I'm going to tell you the two teams that's not going to, I don't think it's going to fall out early, and that's Alabama and Kansas. I think those are the two best one seeds. I like the way Houston plays.
I do like Houston.
A10. And Marcus Sasser, or
he's tough.
I forget his first name, but Sasser, he's a buck. Tough. But he did hurt his groin the game before the conference championship game, and Memphis ended up winning that conference championship convincingly. Memphis was putting it on Houston. And then Purdue. I think that's the obvious answer.
Always.
By the way Purdue looked. But the way and we'll get into the brackets, but I'll give you a little sneak peek right now to the audience. I think they both go out at the same time. I think Purdue and Houston are going to go out in the round of 32. I won't tell you to who until we release our bracket predictions.
I like the suspense. Both of them.
Yeah, I think they have two tough matchups in that second round. The winner of those 8-9 seed games, and I think they both go down. But we'll get into that, bro. But I think it's going to be one of those teams that go down, if not both.
I completely agree, bro. I think I think Kansas is a clear-cut favorite of mine to make a deep run. I think Purdue is the obvious one, but I'm gonna go over side of the fence here on Bama. I love the kid that they got.
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller. He gives me Kevin Durant vibes.
Always rubbing that damn jersey.
But I think
hope she just falls off the tax one day when we on air. Like the tax just come the damn wall. My fault. Good.
Don't listen to him. But listen, I think Houston makes a run this year, bro. I think Houston has built up momentum over the last 3 years to where are we taking them seriously? Are they really a one seed? But I watched them during their tournament play and during their conference play, and I think they can make maybe not Final Four, but I think they go deeper than Alabama this year. So
we can put a little better on that too. I do like Kansas though, but I think Alabama's going to go far. But we'll see.
We gotta see.